Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm going to be doing the Capricorn super new moon. Super new moons just means that the moon is a lot closer to the earth than any other moon, and this just so happens to be one of them. This new moon is happening on the 23rd of December, which is just a few days after the winter solstice, and um, when Jupiter goes back into Aries. And so those are two pretty big things that are happening there because Aries and Capricorn are both cardinal signs. Cardinal signs are about initiating something, starting something, beginning something. New moons are about setting new intentions. And because it's the winter solstice, I will be posting something a little bit more on this. If you want to go back to my video, I did more in-depthly talking about the winter solstice from the metaphysical point of view and all that. I broke all that stuff down in my other video. I think it was last year. It could have been the year before. Um, and I talked about it from the archetypal, the mythology, perspective and all that stuff. So if you were looking for that, that video has already been done. You can go back and check that out. But essentially, what we're doing is cultivating something in a 3 month period of time because in the next 3 months from now, we'll be moving to spring season. And it's like that every 3 months for each season. And so this is kind of what winter solstice is about, planting new seeds of intention for a 3 month period of time. And then you also have the 6 month period of time for the new moon process because every new moon and full moon happen over a 6 month period of time where we're kind of tracking the new moon and full moon process where something's dying, something's beginning, something's dying, something's beginning, and things of that nature. And so I think this is going to be a really, really, really good energy. I think it's going to be a lot of work, and I think it's going to be heavy at the same time and burdensome. But overall, I think Capricorn's coming in to help us build something worthwhile for the long term. And so, obviously, this is a great time to set new intentions around Capricorn themes. Capricorn brings order, what needs to be taken care of. Where do we need to step into our authority and um, what are we ready to shift and change in our life? These are some good things to write down and really sit down and think and ask yourself, what that is for you at this time. Um, Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, which is again about initiating new beginnings. That's directly related to what's going on in our physical world with the earth energy and how we are here to master our physical reality. Like literally everything you need to know about that statement is right in that sentence. Um, you know, how are we how we are here to master our physical reality, how we are here to master our physical reality, like to the 10th power. What is that? How are you doing that? How are you building that? And on the opposite end of that is Cancer. And the sad part about it is that, it's a family structure. Cancer is all about home and family. Your home and your body here, it starts with you and your personal home and your space, how you're building that up in such a way that's organized, disciplined, structured, and has a system that, um, that gives or processes, generational wealth. Um, Breaks generational curses. Capricorn and Cancer accesses my storytelling time because Capricorn is about history. Cancer is about the past, reflecting on the past, family reunions. And if you look at the Taurus energy and that being in the South Node, which is why I'm always talking about Tulsa, is because it's about sharing our history and story so we know where we came from and we never forget that. Um, just like the Jews do when they tell that story of what they went through, they're remembering their history so they know why they have culture. Why is culture so important to them? Because when you don't have it, people can come in and kind of try to take that from you. And so standing firmly on that meaning means you have to know where you came from and how the downfall of the Black people came about. You have to have times where it's important to have those conversations. And then you also have to have a healthy balance of, okay, now how are we putting that into action to make sure that never, ever, 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 okay, make sure that it never happens again, right? And so to me, this is what Capricorn season has always been about. Now, from the Saturn perspective of Capricorn, it's also the dark night of the soul. And it is a time to go inward and reflect. And there are some darker themes there that need to be dealt with, but such is life to me, honestly. Um, where do, no, if I read that already. Capricorn is also about bigger structures in our lives, like banks, other businesses where we do businesses for things and resources that we need. Um, what are we building? What has meaning to us? Where we have commitments, where we need to show up and take care of business. So there is a seriousness here with Capricorn. Capricorn literally rules seriousness. Um, let's see. Family, please like, share, subscribe. As you may or may not know, the more you like, share, comment, it helps the algorithm. It helps the video get to other people more when you do that. Um, we do appreciate you in advance as we are trying to grow our channel. Please hit the notifications bell so that you can be notified every time we go live, family. We do appreciate you in advance. Now, we also have Venus, Mercury, and Pluto in Capricorn. So there's a stellium of planets in Capricorn during this new moon, meaning there's probably two areas of your life that's lit up. Everybody's going to be different, but I would definitely look at the area of life before Capricorn and Capricorn because Capricorn's at the 29th degree. And so it's at the end of something, wrapping up something, it's finalizing something. And whatever those other planets or areas are in, can just be other themes, information, and things that can be brought to light when it comes to how we can work through our Capricorn area of life. And so this is definitely bringing up, lighting up our Capricorn area of life. This is long-term goals, what goals matter, what we want to achieve, what are the payoffs, what are the rewards, what do you want to achieve, and what are you accomplishing? And to me, this is your dream boards, goal boards, checking in with those. A massive amount of this energy is going to have to do with whatever fell apart during 2020. What was a blessing in disguise? What did you now have the opportunity to do that maybe prior to that you didn't have to do? And so check in on that even if it feels like things haven't been really going well, you have to also understand that we had the Uranus Saturn squares, that's the old against the new, going back and forth 3 times during 2021. And we kind of really just stopped in motion of everything that kind of broke down in 2020 and never really addressed, well, how are we moving forward now that we are in a pandemic? What things do need to change? How is that going to look now? And how that has changed the way that you live on a regular basis, right? Um, really, I feel like they're trying to kind of like push that under the rug as if it never happened, and they want us to ignore it, but not because they don't want it to seem as if it didn't happen. It's because they are trying to figure out how to capitalize off of the changes that came up and how and what everybody did as a collective to get by. And so another thing you really, really, really want to keep in mind here is the importance of having a family or a team or support on this journey, on this new journey that we're having to get to where you need to get to. Because a lot of us might not have been able to do that and had to stop because we realized, oh shit, I want to start this business, but I don't really have ba, 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 ba. And so what are you having to do? What can you do to continue within that process to make sure you're getting the things that you need to continue, working on that business? How are you working smarter, not harder with the Taurus North Node around having a 9 to 5 very Uraniusly, right? Which is probably, again, I think I talked about this in another video I was doing. I've been doing so much, I don't even remember. But I'm pretty sure I talked about it just recently about the importance of doing like a Uber or DoorDash or um, something else in between besides a 9 to 5 so that it's not so strenuous to get you that additional cash that you might have been depending on from a 9 to 5 to also, do your um to make money for your business or whatever it is that you're trying to build and work on. You might have to sacrifice and do also a part-time job and still continuously work around whatever it is that you're having to do. Even if you're not a business person, and you're a family person, maybe you just want your family to be together, not necessarily to build anything but family. These things are just as important to building a business than anything else because those are the core values that you really need to build a business, right? And so it could be just that. Um, you know, Essentially, it's going to be different for everybody, but this is your public status. How are you showing up in the world? Your bosses, are you an authority figure in your life? Are you taking responsibility? Are you mature? Things of that nature that are going to be kind of coming up in major ways that changed somehow. We might feel really different about it today. We've seen something has been brought to light, and now we need to continue playing out those storylines in some way, shape, or form. Remember, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and um, because Saturn is in Aquarius, it's also Aquarius season that this storyline is playing out, and then and then Aquarius also brings in the Uranus connection where we'll be challenged to do something again innovative, outside of the box thinking, essentially smarter, not harder. So it's not just Capricorn season where this heaviness of Saturn takes place. You have to remember it lasts 2 seasons in a row. That's why 2020 and 2021 were pretty freaking bonkers because Saturn was still in the mix. So Just keep those things in mind. Um, this is often about the work that we do, our career that we have in our profession. This is a great time to communicate what you value, what you love. Write love letters, write letters in general, um, for all your relationships as a way of putting out there, again, your vision, your goals, your long-term goals that you want to accomplish at this time, your money goals and vision. And this could be a heartfelt letter to a parent or a family member, or these are heartfelt gifts. If they're not letters or conversations, these can be gifts. These are things that you can use this energy for at this time to manifest whatever it is you want to bring into your life at this time. Um, Pluto is in Capricorn. And Pluto's going to get a little close. It's not actually going to conjunct, but it's going to come close. And Pluto is in Capricorn. I think it's going to be a pretty big deal, and it's going to affect this energy, causing some sinister action around limitations towards Capricorn themes. Like, I've been saying, during 2020, they watched everything that we did, and now, like I said, they're capitalizing on it. You can see all the commercials now that are related to what most people did and how they moved and operated for all the small business people. Now they didn't set up something around the taxes so that they can tax you so you can't grow like you did in 2020. Trust me, they did exactly, they are the opposition. They are the opposition, and you have to know that, which is why it has to be more important for us to build family and connections who understand that than it is the latter, or what we've been doing, or not connecting, or allowing them to separate us the way that they have so masterfully, because this is what's stopping us from growing. And the sooner we learn that and accept that and commit to changing that, the better off we'll be. That again, it starts in here. Go get some counseling. Like, seriously, people, heal your wounds, change your mindset, and put those things into action. I did a lot of work when I was going to college for my bachelor's degree in drama therapy and the arts in general. I did theater as a therapeutic process, and that was kind of my journey to becoming a life coach and working with men and women in prison. And so I did a lot of work with adult learners. And because we are getting an education so much later in life, we're not as young and agile. We can't just sit and listen. We can't just sit and have conversations. We can't just learn and consume information. At some point, you got to get Capricorn with it, make lists, itineraries, plans, business plans, write things out, put them on your board, put them in places where you can see them. You know, there needs to be another component. That was like one of the hardest things for me when I went to college, was remembering what I had obtained in class all day. Literally, I would come home and me and my son had this thing where we would sit together and be like, "So what did you do in school today?" It was like the coolest thing that his mom was in school and he was going to school. This is my oldest son, and he thought, "Oh my gosh, my mom's going to school." So we would sit down and tell each other what we did in school. Here's the thing. So I don't remember half the goddamn time. I was like, actually, I don't know what the hell I did in school today. Like, because I was also a mother and taking care of the house, and I had a part-time job, and remembering to, do these small other tasks. And so what you learn in that, what I've learned, let me speak for myself. What I learned through that process is that I had to conduce some of the things that I was learning, right? Because not everything is going to be for you, information wise, right? And so a lot of the things that I took were things that really made my heart skip a beat, right? And I would cling on to those, and I would write them down and bring them home. And I would not just tell my son, I expanded and I told my little sisters, and I bought a little whiteboard and I would write quotes of the things that I learned and have conversations about those. And I incorporated my sisters to do it. So whenever they came to the house, I was like, you got to have a quote from your person who you like look up to, like who has the best quotes that you really really like, that say something to you. And they would have to tell us what that quote meant to them, why it was inspiring to them, and they would have to write it on the board every time they came to the house. I have a Taurus sister who likes Bruce Lee. Threw me off, first of all. I just want to say that I'm proud. Okay, I had no idea that these kids are so resilient. They want to do these types of things. So anyway, and that was a way that I had to retain the knowledge that I was learning. Otherwise, like, yeah, who cares? Yeah. So I went to school today. I learned a whole bunch of stuff, but don't remember what it is. So you have to you have to make it a way of life, which is why I named my business A Way of Life, even though it's Ascendant Astrology now. If you go over to my old page, I talked about a lot of these things when I first started, and how important it is uh, to incorporate the things that you're learning. Um, and yeah. I think the same is said for the pandemic. What new things did you learn? What did you heal? What is now allowing you to look at something differently, to expand your life in some kind of way? And how can you build on that, grow that, and bring it into your physical reality in some way, shape, or form? Um, you know, I think this is going to fire up the next revolution, if you want my honest opinion, just like 2020. We could have a lot of repeating themes during um this year with what's coming up from Capricorn season. Mostly because Mercury is retrograde in Capricorn, and so isn't Venus, and so they're kind of bringing the past into the future. Like, whoa, 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 whoa! But you didn't finish this lesson. You didn't understand what this really meant to you. You take the time to sit down and really think things through and plan stuff. Take a course if you feel like you have no idea how to do that kind of stuff. Watch some YouTube videos, really challenge yourself to get into it. Um, I promise you, the moment you connect to what your heart really wants from you, things come to you. you know they will find their way to you without you having to do much else than that. It's the way of communicating with the universe to say, I'm ready. And when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. Always, Saturn will always be there for you. Yeah, if you're doing stuff you ain't got no business, Saturn's gonna show up for that too. It's just gonna be very unpleasant for most people, and you just gotta know the difference, and you're still learning the same lesson at the end of the day, no matter how it's showing up. But I also think, the whole revolution thing needs to like cease and desist. And you think back to Martin Luther King and what he was doing, and all the revolutions he started, and marches and people out in the streets, like what did that accomplish back then? No disrespect to Martin Luther King. He was very iconic. He had a purpose, and I think his purpose was very much felt, and people learned from it what they needed to learn from it. But it's like at this point, if you're just again sitting around watching, listening, having conversations, and not taking action, you're wasting time. And that's just the God's honest truth. You have not mastered the power of God within yourself, and how you can let God work through you to manifest change, real change, change that brings up solutions and you know, evolution within whatever it is you're doing. I think a lot of us struggle with that, mostly because it's a double-edged sword. We have way more things coming at us negatively to stop us than we do positive things. And so you always have to fight harder to move past those blockages and restrictions and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, Capricorn's really serious. Capricorn is really hard. Capricorn's gonna, bang it in your head, stop sitting down, not doing anything, get up and do something. But it's because you really have to with the way the world is today. If you want to see a change, the more you change and show up as a person of change, the more you um, inadvertently encourage others to do so. That's why I was saying on my other video, don't just let me come here, listen to what I'm saying. Um, and leave it at that. Engage. This is how you grow things and build things. And I think that's something that we just don't know how to do as a people. In general, if you want my honest opinion, I think these things are very hard for us because we have a lot of conditioning and fears and things that say, don't do that, don't mind other people's business, don't. And it's like that shit's for the birds. It's if it hasn't gotten you the peace, light, and happiness today, challenge yourself to do something different and see if that doesn't change your life. You know, if you brush your teeth with your right hand all the time, try doing it with your left. If you typically put on your right shoe first, try putting on your left first. You have to exercise your brain to get out of this molded thinking that's keeping you stuck from being the God that you are. Take control of your life. You are not here as a pawn in this game. You are the pawn. Move it to where you want to move it to. Let's play chess, not checkers. Okay. Um, but I think the really good thing about this new moon is that uh the new moon will square Jupiter in Aries, which is goals, what motivates you, get moving, to be active towards something, um, um, being a leader. Um, I feel like there's so much more I can say about Jupiter and Aries, but those are the essential things. And then Jupiter is travel, law, education, um, culture, beliefs, morals, ethics, philosophy, broadcasting, publishing, public speaking, um, spirituality, and religion, right? And so that Aries is gonna get us active around those themes. And so what we're gonna see in this revolution this time around, at least I'm hoping, we don't go out to the streets again, family. Like, seriously, please don't do that. Like, I'm so annoyed at the fact that that's even a possibility. It makes my skin crawl. But we are where we are. And so what I do think it's going to do though is challenge us to say, to want to protect ourselves now, whether this be guns, because Aries rules guns, martial arts, Aries rules martial arts, or learning the law to protect ourselves. I think there are going to be some things that come up where people are going to stand up and be like, well, hey, you know, well, if you're going to do that, then I need to do this. And that's a great attitude to have. Just remember, again, what you're doing is getting more practical in the physical as a way to change and evolve within that. Please don't do old stuff that we've already done, family. Can we please not? Like not today. And I know it's hard, but I really hope, honest to God, if I see it, I think I'm gonna fucking scream. I do. I think I'm gonna scream. But I think the idea is that we will get motivated to try something new with that Aries energy. It's something new to think a certain way about it, to do something differently. Even the connecting and socializing, because Mars has been in Gemini for the past 6 months. It'll continue this process throughout this time as a way to, again, challenge us when it comes to siblings, neighborhoods, cars, travel, transportation, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, neighbors, um, marketing, sales, commerce, all those kind of things that are Geminian ruled, which is, I think it's a good start. It's a good start, a way to change things, especially when it comes to your siblings and the people that are around you. Now, on a lower vibration, we can feel disconnected from our emotions, be in hermit mode, feel weighed down, burdened by responsibility, heavy. Essentially, how to cope with this is getting organized, having structure and discipline, and accomplishing your day-to-day tasks. Um, stay organized and commit to that. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you guys know how I feel about Karate Kid. Both versions are great, although obviously I like the one with Will Smith's son, a lot better. But I often think of Mr. Miyagi when I think about what Capricorn energy means to me, because in that movie, here you have a man who is dedicated to his craft and what he does, and he's peaceful in it, and his day-to-day tasks, helping people, doing what he's supposed to do, and balancing the two. But he also had a whole bunch going on. He had lost his wife in a car accident, and every time that time came around, it was a process for him to, to remember what that was like, and to feel like that heavy burden of failure or responsibility of something, others, money, getting money, having a career, having a business, and again, like I was saying, Capricorn, Pluto, this is all the dark night of the soul energy. And I think it's all relative. And I also think that those things are not going to go away right away. Right. And so this is a thing of this too shall pass. But really, what Capricorn says is, there are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be times where things just aren't that pretty. That's also a part of life, and how you learn and expand in a certain way. And some people do it well and they've mastered it well. This is why you need to have peace in here and in your home, so that you don't get triggered by any outside storms or things that are going on, because it can really place a lot of stress on you, to a point where, again, you just don't move, or you don't change, or you're still doing the same thing you were doing last year. And if you don't have the right mentorship, we already don't have family. We done lost the elderly. The elderly are now like fucking 30. That's not funny. That's not fucking funny, but it's the truth. Big Mama's gone. And so there's this lack of showing you how to get through something, or just somebody saying this too shall pass. And so, again, you got to collectively find that voice within you to be able to get through that. And to be quite frank, in my honest and humble opinion, that is always going to be what God's gifts he has given to you. To master that, to focus on that, to use that as a process of staying grounded and disciplined on how you react to things, right? And that's all the dark night of the soul is to me. And how are you working through that? You get stronger every day and every year and on and on and on and on, right? And so don't be so hard on yourself if you find yourself feeling this way. Acknowledge it, cry, find somebody to talk to. God damn it, find somebody to talk to. Someone you can lean on. Write it out. Get a journal or a diary or something. You have got to find a way to release those things. They can cause health issues if you hold on to them long enough and over time. It's not healthy. Okay. And you don't have to do this by yourself. It's not about trying to do it by yourself. That is a lie that has been sold to you by your enemies. Okay. And they have done such a good job with making people feel like they're unworthy. And so, um, you know, start a plan, do a goal board, write down your goals, talk to somebody about them, put them up where you can see them, but don't ever give up on what you're good at, because Capricorn is your soul purpose. It's the 10th house. It's the ruler of your mission and purpose in this lifetime. You know, what you are meant to do here in this lifetime. And that matters to the collective, right? And you have to step into that power. And so that's my advice on how you do it. Um, This will also help you see when things aren't working instead of racking your brain trying to figure it out. It'll show up in your system. You know, if you keep on a steady structured system and something gets out of whack, you're going to know because you no longer have control. And so that's how you know it's time to stop, take a break, breathe, and figure things out before you get back to business as usual. But if you don't have a system and you're already in some sense of chaos, or you just do, or you know what I mean? There's no writing things out. You don't have a goal board, or how do you know? How do you know? How do you know if what you're doing is working? How do you know if and how you feel about it? You know what I'm saying? So there has to be, you have to have some kind of system. Um, that's the way you track what's working well and what isn't. And now you can revisit things, revise things, move things around, add new stuff, take stuff out, you know, whatever it is you figure needs to be done with whatever's showing up, right? Now, Saturn has been in this area of your chart since late March and August in Aquarius, showing you what you're doing on your own, the strength to handle your responsibilities, what's not working, what has no purpose. Saturn also rules timing, scheduling, bosses, people in uniform in the medical profession. Now, I've been talking about this for a while as well, which, by the way, before I move on to that, there could be issues with timing, scheduling, and bosses, whether that's you or it's somebody outside of you. Just remember to listen. Don't jump to conclusions. Take the information, go sit with it, and decide whether or not how you want to deal with it. Is it even worth it? Do you need it? Whatever it is. You know, make that decision in that time of thought and processing your thoughts, and then write down how you want to move with that and start taking action towards whatever that is. Now, with the people in uniform in the medical profession, um, government officials. Unfortunately, again, this is going to be layoffs, cutbacks, reduce of anything really, or again, that need to having to carry financial burden. I think also, I don't know if it was last year or the year before they came out with quiet quitting. I think we can see more of that. A lot of businesses closing, or maybe you need to hire people. Again, this is sixth house to me, kind of what it reminds me of. Whether you're working on the job and you're in human resources, right? So you're hiring people, firing people. But this could also be you, even as a person, if you need a dog walker, somebody to help clean the house. These are nannies. They're called nannies. I think they do actually have cleaners, but most of the people getting this type of service, maybe perhaps a very wealthy family, two family household, one family household, parenting doesn't matter. Um, they have people come in and help them clean with the children and things of that nature. Um, and this is even like service to your car, bringing the kids to doctor's appointments and um, games and things of that nature. There could be a lot of these types of things going on here. But I also think that we're going to hear news about layoffs, quiet quitting, um, and things of that nature. Um, Finances being limited, controlled finances. um, what's going on with the economy, banks and institutions, like government institutions, again, places where people go for resources, might have to close, or they have some updated information or restrictions or laws are changing. Expectations for when you enter these places could be changing. Things like that can be going on quite heavily at this time that we could hear about. Um, Unfortunately, I think it's going to slow down the economy. Naturally, because that's just what Saturn does. Plus, we're still in retrograde phase. I think once Mercury if you think shit's fucked up now, going slow, meaning slowing your thoughts, slowing how you move towards things. Oh, once Mercury hits this place, I promise you, y'all are gonna feel this 10 times even worse. In fact, I'm gonna feel it 30 because I'm ruled by Gemini. And I think it's not fair. But but I get it. I'm really beginning to understand the message of slowing down, doing things in chunks, not trying to overextend yourself and do all these different things. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And you can still be successful in that because Capricorn wants to build, but it wants to build slowly over time, right? Because Capricorn is like fine wine, it gets better over time. And so we can see, we'll start to feel a lot of these things happening. And challenging us in how we move and think, how we process information, actually learning to take time to sit down and process information. You might even have people like, you know what, I'll get back to you in a couple of days. Let me think about it. It's teaching us how to communicate time. It's so crazy how literal this can be sometimes. Honest to God. But I think we need it. And I also think that this whole inflation, recession talk that's probably going to grow a lot more than I care to hear about, acknowledge, or even be involved with. I promise you, I will skeet through this entire fucking situation as if it never happened. You know why? Because Black people been fucking broke. We're used to this shit. We live in poverty. We're always just trying to get by. We already spend little. But I think essentially when it comes to how to survive, like this is a cakewalk for most of us. I think egoic wise, people who are trying to uh be a Mr. Rogers, if you will. It's going to affect uh them the most. And that's not a good or a bad thing. It just means that you might feel this in a way that's a little bit more uncomfortable. And it's going to challenge you to, why are you spending all that money? What do you want the Nikes for? Um, and and yeah, so there's obviously so much more I can say about that. I think the bottom line is to remember who it's gonna help people remember who they really are, right? We already know how to survive. I actually think it's going to bring us back to that Taurus area of life, that North Node area of life where Taurus is like less is better anyways. You know, I don't know why when I thought about this, I thought about the show Charmed. You guys remember that show Charmed? I don't know why I'm really obsessed with that show. Don't judge me, guys. But what it reminded me of is the basics, going back to what I was saying earlier about the importance of building a family or that family structure where the three sisters they weren't even talking, but once they got their power, and you can think of this again going back to what I said about you being a god, right? Once they got their power, they understood from that moment on all of what differences they had to let go of. Those things were null and void. And if they had them, they had to be honest and open with each other when they did come up and how that would affect them and their powers and how they beat their struggles or strifes in life, right? Um, I mean, I think it was preserving their legacy, teaching them their legacy, showing them who they were. And every time they remembered that, they were powerful, more powerful together as a team. Anytime they deviated from that ideology, everything went haywire, right? And so another way to think about this time of doing less, um, being restricted, feeling restricted, take this as a time to build those closer relationships with the people you have around you. Make sure there's a level of people knowing their power. Make sure you're encouraging people to be who you are, not judging them, things of this nature, getting out your differences and, having talks about how we can get past those things and if it gets to a point where you're like, okay, well, yeah, let's start a family business. Let's do something together as a collective of friends or a group that or association that you belong to help build or grow in any kind of way, really, in any kind of way, whatever it is, um, to just take the time to build those connections because that is culture, family. This is how wealth is built. And when I say wealth, I'm not just talking about money. Your wealth is your health. It's the people that you're connected to. It's the company that you keep. It's the house and how you structure your house, both houses, this house and your house. It's the um communities and things that you visit within the community, who you give back to, the generational curses you're breaking. Again, like everything that I was saying earlier in the show, that is the message of Taurus North Node. That is the process of what Capricorn and Cancer access is about: family, legacy, um, where you're from, your homeland, your history, and what does that mean to you? Are you giving that value, Venus and Capricorn? Do you value it? And how are you showing up like that in your life? And I know this is a lot easier said than done because I don't even I don't really get along with my family. So let me make that very clear that I'm not preaching to the choir. I'm really just trying to get people to see what if we don't change, nothing else is going to change, right? And so we can hear from the government about what we don't need and let's sacrifice this and, you know, whatever bullshit story they're going to try to to pull here. But Saturn has been in Aquarius for the last few years, and it's getting ready to go into Pisces in March. And um it's been and Aquarius rules can reveal the ties that you have to others. Um because Aquarius rules the collective consciousness, your friends, groups that you belong to, acquaintances, um, co-workers, on all those things on and offline, the future, and what to let go of. And so again, essentially what we're talking about is finding our soul tribe. And in order to bring in new things, we got to let go of the things that aren't working. We have to make space for the new to come in. And so how are you doing that or expressing that or, trying to build that in your life in some way? And so, yeah, man, I think this is going to be a great time because of the retrogrades, to be honest with you. I think it could have been a lot worse without them. Everybody just trying to move forward and push things through without having considered the past. And that's a problem. Again, we have to know where we come from in order to know where we're going. And we have to have clear minds and visions without malice and hatred in our heart to build a strong future, something worth building, and who you're doing that with. So I've rambled on all enough, long enough, y'all. As usual, I love and appreciate you. I hope you guys are finding this information helpful. Peace.